This is Art Television.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to the Business Roundup on Art Television. I am Pamudha Katagampala. Let's look at the key developments in the business arena for the going week. And before that, let's look at the top stories for today. A country does not need high growth but rather stable and shared growth, Central Bank Governor stresses. Inflation surges in February 2021, Department of Census announces. Development programs cannot be delayed, President emphasizes. News in detail. Central Bank of Sri Lanka enters into $1.5 billion bilateral currency exchange deal with the People's Bank of China. Central Bank said in a statement that the swap would promote a bilateral trade and direct investment for economic development of the two countries.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka and the People's Bank of China entered into a bilateral currency swap agreement with a view to promoting bilateral trade and direct investment for economic development of the two countries. People's Republic of China remains the largest source of imports to Sri Lanka. In 2020, the value of Chinese imports was estimated at $3.6 billion, which is 22.3% of Sri Lankan imports. Under this agreement, Central Bank of Sri Lanka is entitled for a swap facility amounting to $1.5 billion, and the agreement is valid for a period of 3 years. This swap agreement has been approved by the Cabinet of Ministers with the recommendation of the Monetary Board of Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Governors of the two central banks, Governor of Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Professor W.D. Lakshman, and Governor of People's Bank of China, Dr. Yi Gang, are the signatories to the agreement.
The Central Bank Governor W.D. Lakshman said that Sri Lankan economy is in revival in 2021 through a strategic vision, and the immediate challenge faced by Sri Lanka today is to emerge soon from the current crisis. He stated this addressing the Association of Professional Bankers Research Symposium held recently in Colombo.
As the economy is expected to recover from a contraction in last year to a positive growth of 3.3% this year, the central bank governor stated that the country does not need a quicker growth, but rather a steady, stable and shared growth to be prolonged over many years. He stressed that the stable and shared growth can only be achieved by continuously improving productivity, promoting innovation to develop new knowledge, and being vigilant about movements in economy and society. Further, he pointed out the need to maintain low interest rates and less volatile exchange rate to promote domestic production, while he also explained the importance of bank lending to key sectors as a major point in economic revival. Governor Professor Lakshman asserted on the need to gradually reduce the foreign share of the country's national debt with a strategic economical framework amidst the devastating health crisis.
Assuring maximum relief to the depositors of the banks and finance companies, the maximum amount of compensation has been increased. Accordingly, the maximum amount of compensation payable under the Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Assistance Scheme will now be 1.1 billion rupees.
This decision has been taken with the objective of providing maximum relief to the depositors of the bankers and finance companies regulated by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka in case their licenses are revoked or suspended. Accordingly, the compensation will increase from the current limit of 600,000 rupees to 1.1 million rupees. This decision has been taken to provide further relief to the depositors of financial institutions regulated by Central Bank in the event of a cancellation or suspension of the license of such institutions. Therefore, the depositors of 6 finance companies, namely Central Investments and Finance, the Standard Credit Finance Limited, TKS Finance Limited, The Finance Company PLC, ETI Finance Limited and Swarnamahal Financial Services PLC, whose license have been cancelled or suspended by the Monetary Board, are eligible to receive the revised compensation amount. The depositors of the above-mentioned companies who have yet not obtained any compensation payment are also requested to apply for compensation under the revised maximum amount of 1.1 million rupees. The central bank is currently taking necessary measures to commence the payment of additional compensation soon. CBSL also announced that the payment mechanism and the date of commencement of payments under the increased compensation threshold will be notified in due course.
Provisional statistics released by Sri Lanka Customs show that the Sri Lanka's export earnings have produced a 2.52% growth to a new high of $993.73 million in February 2021, maintaining the growth momentum recorded during the past 5 months.
Sri Lanka's export earnings reached a 5-year high, barely missing the $1 billion mark in February this year as exports recovered from the second COVID-19 wave that emerged in the final quarter of 2020. The Export Development Board Chairman Suresh Timal remarked that the Sri Lankans are strong in facing challenges and the exporters have shouldered the task of placing country's economy in right track. The export recovery in February was driven by significant growth in export of electrical and electronic components, spices, essential oils, tea, food and beverages, coconut and rubber-based products, despite the major decline in the April export earnings. The cumulative merchandise export earnings for the first 2 months of this year were down by 1.5% year-to-year to $1.9 billion. However, in the 2-month period, earnings from April exports contracted by 8.08%. Tea exports recorded a modest growth of 2.88% during the 2-month period to 213.52 million, while the rubber-based exports grew by 13.76% to $16,784 billion, with industrial and surgical rubber gloves recording a 54.27% growth. Export earnings from spices and essential oils nearly doubled in the 2-month period compared to the last year. However, the export earnings from petroleum products, seafood, fruits, vegetables, gems, diamond and jewellery products has been declined significantly. Despite Brexit and European Union export market, a notable growth was also recorded in exports to Germany, Italy and Netherlands.
We'll be back with more news after this short break.
Sponsored by
News, views, highlights, updates and opinions. This is Wake Up With Us.
Welcome back to the Business Roundup on our television. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa emphasizes that governors and district secretaries should take the lead in the regional development program. The president made this observation at a meeting with governors and district secretaries held at the Presidential Secretariat recently.
President stated that the government intends to expedite the development benefits of the rural people and that this program cannot be delayed and that all development activities will be overseen and the responsibility will be entrusted to the governors and district secretaries. President instructed that all projects which have not yet been funded and have been halted should be expedited. President said that the use of land in rural areas was irregular and that it was important to educate the villagers and guide them to use their backyards for agriculture, adding that the expansion of community forestry projects could address a number of environmental issues. President emphasized that laws should not be framed in such a way as to offend the entire people through the fault of one or more individuals, adding that officials should go to the villages and identify the real issues of the people if laws are to be enacted to bring fraudsters and crooks to justice. The district secretaries further stated that the environmental destruction that some people and the media are promoting is not happening at the district level and it is just the media show. The president also said that he expects to meet with governors and district secretaries every month to discuss the progress of rural development projects and issues that may arise.
National inflation accelerates to 4.2% in February as based on the National Consumer Price Index. Department of Census and Statistics says that the 0.5 increase was mainly due to the increase in the food prices.
Surface inflation, as measured by the one-year point change in the National Consumer Price Index, rose to 4.2% in February 2021 from 3.7% in January 2021. This is mainly due to the increase in the prices of items in the food category. Meanwhile, annual inflation in the food category rose to 6.9% in February 2021 from 5.9% in January 2021. Furthermore, the annual target inflation in the non-food category rose marginally to 1.9% in February 2021 from 1.8% in January 2021. The change in the National Consumer Price Index measured on an annual average basis fell to 5.5% in January 2021 from 5.8% in January 2020. Monthly change of the index recorded in February 2021 were mainly due to price increases observed in items of food category. Accordingly, within the food category, increases were observed mainly in the prices of vegetables, green chili, coconut and rice during February 2021. However, prices of potato and big onion recorded declines during the month. Further, year-on-year core inflation decreased marginally to 4.1% in February 2021 from 4.2% in January 2020, while annual average core inflation remained unchanged at 4.2% in February 2021.
The Ministry of Technology has taken a step forward in establishing of a technology-based society by commissioning of 5 new technology parks in the country. The major development project was revealed by Secretary to the Ministry of Technology, Jayant De Silva, recently.
It was highlighted that the establishment of the technoparks is only one of the major initiatives identified by the Ministry of Technology to build a technology-based society. The proposed technoparks will include incubator facilities for the establishment of startups, collaborative activities and programs with uninterrupted power supply, telecommunication centers, administrative management offices, banking facilities, conference centers, recreational facilities, parking and internal transportation. Further, it was also added that the ministry was reported to be having discussions with the European Union regarding businesses that would be set up in these parks in the future. Secretary to the Ministry of Technology, Jayant De Silva, highlighted the requirement for the plot of land which amounted to 100 acres and the journey undertaken to find the following characteristics of the ideal location for the proposed technology parks, while there are already 4 cities identified for these, namely Galle, Kandy, Nuwara Eliya and Kurunegala.
We also wanted communication links to be there to support, obviously, and we want electricity there to support 24 hours. So this was another area that we were searching for. The 4th one was actually education. Can these boys and girls, their children, make them children go to education? The 5th one we wanted, because we are tying up with universities where Professor Gamage would enlighten you all more. So we wanted one university to tie up, one or more, to do our R&D, because this is not a standard techno park that you would have seen anywhere in the world.
The Cabinet has accepted President's proposal to take relevant measures to publish the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Bill on the Government Gazette and submit the bill to the Parliament. Cabinet spokesman told reporters at the weekly cabinet briefing last week that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had presented the Colombo Port City Economic Commission bill to the cabinet after it was completed by the legal draftsman. The government has targeted about $1 billion in investment from the Port City project for this year, making it a crucial part of Sri Lanka's push to attract foreign direct investment. Accordingly, the proposal made by Mahinda Rajapaksa in his capacity as the Minister of Finance to obtain the services of a leading international consulting firm which contributes to the promotion of foreign direct investment was approved by the Cabinet. With that, we'll be wind up for today. See you tomorrow with State of Business at 7:45 p.m. Take care and good night.